Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, so today we have our side-by-side camera comparison between the Galaxy S10 Plus and the iPhone XS Max. So in this comparison, we do all of the really extreme kind of shots to tell you which one is actually the best camera comparison. We definitely start off with the focus on low light because that is such an important feature that so many other YouTubers do not focus on. And it's one of the biggest really hardships of smartphone cameras because regular photos are very easy to do, but low light is one of the hardest ones. So let's get started. And this extreme low light one is probably the hardest one to do. So we're gonna start off with that one, and that is just astonishing. And I know people are gonna say that I cheated on this, or oh, there's a freaking light flashing or something like that on the S10 one. No, this is the exact same shot, and I'll show you. The S10 is not the best. I'll show you a quick glimpse of the pixel comparison, but this is truly just the difference of extreme low light. You have an f1.5 aperture, which is still the best aperture I believe to date on a smartphone with the Galaxy S10 Plus. But now it's really bringing up the ISO because of its new intelligent feature. And again, these are automatic out of the box, no tweaks, nothing else, just a regular photo. And this is a huge difference. Now, again, if you think I'm faking it, or if you think like, oh my God, the iPhone's so much better than that, it's BS, this is the Pixel 3. So Pixel 3 is obviously known as being the best in low light if you stand perfectly still and do night mode, and that's what you get with the Pixel 3 on night mode. So we'll get to that comparison in a few days, but this is against the iPhone XS Max and the S10 Plus. So in extreme low light, yes, the S10 Plus is easily the better one to go with, but that brings us to our regular photo comparison. So we start off with the regular low light photo. And the regular low light photo in this one, I will say that you do have a couple of different things to take note of. First and foremost, I will say the background and just overall well lighting does go to the S10, again, just letting more light in because of that better aperture, and you can definitely see that. You can also see that arguably because although both do a good distinction of the different colors of beige in this photo, so right here compared to here, compared to here, compared to here, you kind of still see that in the iPhone, but it's just obviously much better done on the S10 Plus. Now again, I do take this automatic, so one thing I would personally change with the S10 Plus is taking out the screen optimizer that gives you this starry effect, which I do not like, but it is, again, to be fair, automatic out of the box. And yeah, for that purpose, I do also like the blue around the building, which you don't really get with the iPhone, as well as you can see the pole lines a little bit better, especially compared to with the iPhone, they're just completely gone. So overall, when it comes to low light, this is the S10's bread and butter. So I definitely see that, yes, when it comes to low light, it is going to be the S10 overall. Now we go to the next category, which is honestly Apple's probably biggest weakness, and that is detail. Detail is just not that good when you zoom in and crop into a photo. The iPhone tends to lose its luster, basically. It's just not as refined in detail, and it's one of Samsung's biggest strengths. You can definitely see that in a lot of spots of this one. So as we zoom in, you can again see, I feel this is low light playing again though. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and Kingdom Hearts a lot better on the S10 versus the iPhone. And especially even in that Nintendo part right here, you can see it. But the biggest thing I saw, because we did tap the middle of this one, so it focuses in on that row, is on here, you can really kind of make out the numbers a bit better right here under the Crash Bandicoot one, whereas here you cannot make them out at all. So there's a lot of different fine points on here. The iPhone, I would say, has stepped it up. I think we talked about this on our Mate 20 Pro comparison, but the iPhone has definitely stepped it up with software updates. It's noticeable. From the launch till now, it's stepped it up, but it's just not on that level, at least not yet. This is something that I hope their hardware does improve on, so their software can definitely match it when a new iPhone would come out. Overall though, in detail, it goes to the S10. Now, color reproduction is very interesting because iPhone was always true to color for a long time, until about the iPhone 10 is when they really started changing to warmer and more vibrant tones. Now, in this color comparison, you really take a look at skin tones, colors, and everything. Now, starting off, I will say, I think the Samsung overexposed here a little bit much. So you see that on things, especially like the Joker right here, it's kind of a little bit more washed out in comparison. However, when it comes to skin tones, we take a look at this section right here, and it's pretty comparable now in comparing the two. I will say that Samsung came a long way from generally not doing as good accurate colors. Still not, these two still aren't on the pixel level of color reproduction, but overall, I will say they're a lot more comparable. And including in Steve Harvey, which we get kind of a darker skin tones to really see how they turn out. Yeah, this is still, I will say, the iPhone's game, but Samsung has come a long way and getting a lot closer, whereas before the skin was very orange on Samsung before. Now it is definitely more true, still not there yet, but overall I will give color reproduction to iPhone. It just seems better still in color reproduction, although they both tend to lean on the warmer side. Now we go to selfies, and selfies, first we go to our extreme selfie comparison, and then a lot of you have requested a regular selfie at low light, so I'll do that as well in the next one. So here we go. So first for the extreme comparison. The reason we call this the extreme comparison is because the right side has no light whatsoever, so it's very dark, and the left side has a very bright light with a lot of lower tier phones will just get completely washed out in. These are obviously some of the highest end smartphones in the market, so they're not going to get washed out, but you do see a lot of differences. Now, important to note that with the Samsung, you do have the wide angle one, of course, on there, and that really did, I think, play a factor in here. Now, I did take off their beauty optimizer. That is just one thing I do take off on these camera comparisons, just so it's more fair, because most people don't want to use that. But overall, I will say that Apple always does play a very detailed game, usually always very detailed in terms of their quality. But in this instance, I will say that it was a little bit closer than past years in terms of detail on the person. Now, in terms of the background, I do think Samsung did a bit better job in the detail on the darker area, but easily on the lighter area. If you zoom in on the picture on the back, the iPhone doesn't have anything kind of clear in the back, as well as the Samsung does have everything. And you'll notice this more so on the next photo in terms of Apple seeming to only focus on the front, which is of course what you want to focus on, but you can't see anything really in detail in the background. So now we go to the regular selfie, just out and about on a day-to-day basis. And again, this is where I will say that the Apple does a better job with color reproduction. I like the AMC color a lot better than the Samsung one is showing us. However, I will say that again, when it comes to detail, Apple just completely does not have the same detail as the S10, and it could be because of the lower megapixel. But if you see on me, this time the iPhone really kind of has a blur effect on my beard, whereas the Samsung does have it a lot sharper. Not only that, but it seems that the iPhone again just kind of, everything isn't as clear in the background. Everything's kind of fuzzy, and you see a lot of noise where this IMAX section is, and you're just losing a lot of detail overall compared to this, the tickets, the Wonder Park, everything is just more in focus, and there's definitely not as much noise. Overall, I will say in the selfie comparison, I think that the iPhone played much better in the extreme test, but actually when you do a regular night shot, it just isn't as good or isn't as sharp. And again, you could attribute this to the megapixel count that the S10 has, and I think that's why it's overall better this year. So overall, I will say the color reproduction I think is still better on the iPhone. I think that's just its key area overall when it comes to photo taking. However, when it comes to detail both in selfies and in regular photo taking, Samsung has it, and Samsung definitely is overtaking it this year when it comes to low light, simply because of the fact that you just have a wider aperture, and you definitely have a much better optimization in low light with that higher ISO and just overall quality that it optimizes for. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. It looks like the S10 Plus did take it this year compared to last year's iPhone Max, but will it stand a chance when Apple releases a new iPhone? That's going to be a question we'll have to see later on, and by then we'll probably have the Note and the Galaxy Fold to test it out too as well. Thank you as always so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for all the other camera comparisons we have coming up, like the Pixel one. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe up there. Make sure you follow us on social media right here. And of course, check out our latest video up there. And right down here, you're going to find the perfect video for you. Or at least that's what YouTube tells me. Thanks again.